Hi, everybody. Fridays with Sandy. We've got a very exciting candidate here named Andrew. Uh, Andrew and John, our good blood brother here.
Hello
John
there.
Byrne is with
Hello
us.
there.
Andrew, do you want to introduce yourself? Can you do that?
Yes, my name is Andrew Simpson. I currently work with Dewberry Engineers, which is a mid-sized engineering firm. It is the number one engineering firm in the Mid-Atlantic. And with that firm, I work as a construction manager, as a consultant for the District Department of Transportation.
Good.
In Washington, D.C.,
can you
right?
Yes, sir. Washington, D.C.
can you give me some metrics that are public, like annual revenues or number of clients or number of engineers or professional staff?
So we have currently employed approximately 8,000. In terms of revenue,
8,000 who?
8,000 staff in general for the company.
That strikes me. And you're saying that's mid-size?
I believe so.
John, does that sound possible to you?
Well, the revenue is about 460 million. As an engineering company, having more than 7,500 employees, that's quite a bit. I would seem
I see. Okay, so let's say 1 to 5,000 then.
Okay, do me a favor there, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Get control of this stuff.
Okay, got it.
Homework. Besides, this is a good project to do in coordination with normalizing your resume.
Yep.
Really learn the basics of Dewberry. How old it is, how many people they employ, what the annual revenues are, what its size is, what its major projects are.
Got it.
You list your title as staff engineer, but when we look at the bullets of what you do, a lot of that is not engineering per se. It's more like you're an internal consultant. Is staff engineer, is that something you approximated, or is that what's on your entry card?
Yeah, that's my actual title with the company. Within the contract that we're working on, I'm currently an office engineer.
Okay, staff engineer is the one that counts. Get a normalized resume, okay?
Yep, got it.
I'm going to.
So on your resume, you want to describe your firm it's a civil engineering firm located in
a medium-sized engineering firm, that's okay. Ranked in the Engineering News Record's top 50, okay, that provides engineering, construction, architectural consultancy to the public and private sectors. Yeah, what else is there? If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I got it.
To deliver projects with public interest as the paramount goal. Don't sell, don't pipe it up, just get a normal resume. Okay. Let me ask you something. Tell me what you're doing now.
So what I'm doing is I'm working as a consultant, as a construction management consultant with the District Department of Transportation on some of their larger contracts that the mayor views as critical to what she wants.
Sounds like you're part of a larger project at Dewberry. The answer I expect to hear is, for the past 6 months, Dewberry has had a large contract with the city of Washington, and one of the sub-projects, I'm in charge of one of the sub-projects, and that's changing the meters at the subway stop, and this is what I do. Okay, that's the kind of answer I want to hear.
Sure.
All right. Let's give it a try.
Okay, so with Dewberry, I am an integral part of the contract we have with the District Department of Transportation, which is paving the entire city and also restoring.
Stop right there. District Department of Transportation. Is that a monopoly company or District Department of what? Where?
That's the governmental organization that is in charge of the streetscapes in DC, And
You might mention that. Okay. Right now, we're working on a project with the District of Columbia with the subunit, whatever it is, and
okay,
they're in charge of keeping the streets clean. So that's the big scope of the project. And what I'm doing is this.
yes,
Can you
sir.
do it that way?
Sure. So we are currently working with the district, or rather the District of Columbia, and they have a Department of Transportation which monitors the overall health of the roadway systems and transportation network in DC. And currently, what I'm doing is restoring each and every road in the district, local, federal, etc., in addition to some change orders which have included the restoration of Black Lives Matter Plaza, amongst other things.
Good. And how many people do you supervise?
Well, currently I am managing a staff of 5 inspectors, but when the city really starts to ramp up in the locations that we're working on, that can increase to 10, 12, but we shrink and increase our staff based on the demand.
Good. Okay. Let me give you a very popular mock interview question. You can define this any way you want. What was the most gratifying project you ever worked on and why?
Well, the most gratifying project I've ever worked on is the one that we're now bringing to a close. And the reason why is because when I first got out of college, it was a great challenge. The mayor wanted to repave the entire city, and I had to learn on the fly. The learning curve was substantial, but I was determined to not only learn the specifications and special provisions, but also deliver quality of the highest caliber to our client.
But this is your first project you worked on at Dewberry?
Yes, that's correct.
It sounds like they're giving you a lot of responsibility for a guy straight out of college. Is that right?
Indeed. Yes.
And what was your learning curve like?
Well, the learning curve consisted of learning the standard specifications in addition to the special provision of the contract, uh, learning how to communicate not only with the contractor, but also deal with public relations in-house with the DDOT team, but also with the public and the stakeholders who are invested in the routes that we're working on. And then also making sure that we're continuing to improve on our processes so that we're able to scale our services and contract more work with what we're doing.
Okay, let me give you this is a worthwhile answer to formulate. Could you tell me what you want to do? Let's say you get into your top choice business school, okay? And I understand you're interested in MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, or Columbia. Okay, let's say lightning strikes. You get into Stanford, okay? Could you tell me what you want to do if your first job after Stanford, your next job, and what job you would want ultimately at the highlight of your career?
So immediately out of Stanford, I would like to spend some time with the World Bank as a consultant. The World Bank has a program for master's holders who have demonstrated an interest and really learn what it means to be somebody who's at the frontier of international development. And then from that,
yeah, what's the name of that pro? You should have the name of that. A great job for me would be to join the World Bank XYZ program. That's a program that intakes 40 people a year who have just graduated business school, and they're put through a 2-year training and field work. And that would just be great for me.
Got it.
Can you do it that way?
Yes.
A little bit. Can you do it now? Or
well, I need to get the name of it. But like I was talking to my mentor and he introduced me to the program. He went through the program and it sounded appealing. And so that's one of the avenues that I'm considering.
Good. And then what would you want to do? Name someone whose job you want in 30 years. This is a worthwhile question to be able to answer.
Yeah, well, with respect to a specific job, I can't really put one on the tip of my tongue, but I do have a synthesis.
Okay, let me tell you something. A great answer to this is, I'll tell you, there are 3 people that I really admire. 3 role models for me are 1, 2, and 3. That way, it makes it sound like you're impassioned in this field. You
Right.
know it. You've studied it, and and you've taken inspiration from these people, and you can also explain why.
Got it. So three people who I view as role models are Adebayo Ogunlesi, Francis Chure, and then Bjarke Ingels.
Yeah,
And
who are they?
with respect to Adebayo Ogunlesi, he is CEO of GIP, which was acquired by BlackRock, which is an investment firm that looks at infrastructure as assets. And Bjarke Ingels is a
Okay,
world-renowned.
stop. You've got to liberate yourself. You haven't internalized this. It looks like you're reading off a card. Okay.
Okay.
What you have to do is you have to be able to conversationally mention this. A real role model for me is this guy. I like so many things about him. He's currently the head of this, and he's done this and this. And boy, to be involved in projects like that, where he's helped underdeveloped countries, he's brought assets to the region, that would be a great career for me. Do you see the difference?
I understand.
Yeah, good. So you're leaving this with a lot of homework, my friend.
Indeed.
But it's really valuable. It'll also help you write the essay.
I agree.
Now, Andrew, you wanted to know your odds at these schools, right?
Yes, I'm open to that as things
So
currently.
what do you think the odds are, Sandy, on these different schools?
A lot depends on the GRE score. I would try to get a GRE score that comes close to 70, 80% on both sides. That way the schools will take a chance on you because there's so much positive that they like about you. They'll say, okay, this guy had a 3.35 GPA at an engineering program. The GRE score was in the house. We can deal with this guy. We can help this guy. So if you could do that, I think, boy, MIT is I don't think you're getting into MIT or Stanford for the same reasons. Those schools are tough. They're cold-hearted and they know what they want. And even among underrepresented minorities, they've got their applicant pool of underrepresented minorities is incredibly strong. So even considering you in that pool, I think it would be very hard. Berkeley and Columbia kind of flips the script. I think if you can get and keep taking the GRE, man, if you can get a respectable GRE, I think your chances at Berkeley and Columbia are, like 25, 35%. I'd apply to John. What would be some safer schools for Andrew?
Well, given your goal to work for the World Bank, I would say I would be looking at Georgetown and I would be looking at UVA Darden.
Yeah,
Obviously,
why is that? There we go. This is why I'm a great talker, but John actually knows stuff. Why would that be the case, John?
because up and down the ranks at the World Bank, you're going to find plenty of alums from both those schools. UVA probably has the biggest group of graduates that are, movers and shakers in the Washington, D.C. area. And so does Georgetown. So that sets you up for exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
Let
me ask you
those
another
schools
question.
would be a lot easier to get into than Berkeley, Columbia, Stanford, and MIT. So you need to have a few schools in there that, none of these schools are layups, but you need to have a couple of schools in here that are, within a safe or reachable range.
Andrew, you just got to go to business school. After that, it's golden. You're a case where the school always matters, but you're a case where the school matters less. Okay? There are a lot of companies that just want to hire guys like you, and they just want an MBA, and they'll take you into their programs.
Yeah.
So you should apply to more schools on the safe side.
Yeah, I think that's true. I would say if you want the Reach School here is Columbia and Berkeley. And then I would have UVA Darden. I would have Georgetown. I might have Duke, UNC, Chapel Hill.
You said you've got a mentor or someone who's really behind you.
Right.
Okay, you don't have to answer any of this, but just this is my general advice for how to use mentors. If it's possible, you've got to convince your mentor, or your mentor should know this, to make a phone call. Writing a letter of recommendation is great, but I don't care what the schools say about please don't call us. Phone calls happen. Okay. It's the opposite of, there's an expression, duty happens. Phone calls happen too. It's the other side of the coin. Okay.
Right.
Correct, John?
Yeah, no, totally. It is all about networking.
Yeah. Networking is part of what they're testing for.
Yeah.
So you can take this, you know your relationship with your mentor, and hopefully the mentor has been around and he knows how the game is played. But if to people out there with mentors, if they don't understand the game, you've got to educate them and say, look, Sandy on Poets and Quants says that the mentor has to make a phone call, and you can send them a clip of this interaction. Okay, you and anybody else. We're a full service advisory here, John.
Well, look, Andrew, good luck. I think the first key is getting a good score on the GRE. And I think
how many times do you think you would take it, Andrew? How many times are you willing to take it?
Until I get the score I want.
Yeah.
Right on, buddy.
That's the right way. That's the way to think about it. And you want that 320 to 325 is where you really want to be if you can be. But that would be the sweet spot for you. So good luck on that.
I appreciate it.
Good talking to you.
Hey,
Thanks for joining us here. Happy
and
Easter.
for all of you out there, good luck on your MBA journeys. Thanks for joining us.